Happy folks, Crafty Dan out here with Josh Finn, and we're playing around with a pretty airplane that we picked up at SMS. This is a maple leaf design called the Encore. It's
one of its many variants.
Yeah, we've got at least one other wing of this design, and it's a cute plane. It's built like a tank, but it's back from the era when DLGs were built like tanks. Kevlar full wing with carbon insets, and it's the tail's wooden but all beat to pieces.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. This is pretty epic here.
The previous owner loved this plane and loved it well. We'll leave it at that. But the setup on it was pretty easy. Just needed to swap out my radio gear and make sure it's ballasted out. The next trick is to go through some of the trimming portions of it. Make sure it glides reasonably well out of the hand, and then just start checking the modes before we actually start giving it hard throws, and then work our way up. So that's what we're doing today. So
you want me to throw it for you?
No, she should be fine.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the wind is coming towards the trees, and we've got.
Let's go that way. I don't want. You have a thing with fences and DLGs.
Yeah, well, it'll be fine.
No, it won't.
So, that was comfortably good.
Yeah.
That's definitely in a trimmable state. So we saw it pop up just a little bit and sort of hover just a little until it stalled. That means to me, that what's that speaking to me is that the plane itself is pulling up a little too much, but only just a little bit, because otherwise it would pull hard into a stall and stall from there. So it's just barely at the correct cruise for this particular camber set. So I've given it a few bit bumps of down on the trim, and we'll see how she likes it. She's still doing it a little bit, but not too terribly bad.
Other than landing on the gravel.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And the idea is that you'll start off with a cruise attitude, which your flaps are completely flat. And then you trim out the plane so that it'll glide out of the hand reasonably well, drop into a glide and hold that glide, all on its own. Then you'll start to drop the camber a little bit to set your thermal mode, make sure it does about the same thing. Set your camber again for your speed mode, make sure it does about the same thing. And then we can start trimming out for the launch itself.
Yep. I personally like to set all the elevator trims the same for all the settings, and then add a little up elevator for launch mode. But that's me. Dan has his own system. Everybody has their own system.
Work through it. The idea is that you never want to put the plane into an attitude where your trim is so poorly out that the plane is almost guaranteed to crash. You almost have to with the first launch because you don't really have a choice.
Yep.
But every launch after that, you should be pretty close to a trimmed state. The other thing is you never want to do the untrimmed state in a full launch, period. Never, never, never. Make sure it launches fine from the hand first. And when it's happy with just a glide toss, then you can start launching it from the wingtip. So.
Ooh, there we go.
That is just about perfect.
Stay away from those. There's lots of things to stay away from.
And she is meandering a little bit to the right. That's a couple of clicks of rudder. I'll trim that out in flight later. I'm not going to worry about that much right now because it's so mild. The plane's flying so nice. I'm wanting to move up.
He's impatient.
Yes.
Tell the folks how much you paid for your plane.
Okay. The story behind this plane is fun
because everybody else walked away from it.
Everyone walked
just
away
like
from
another
it,
airplane.
Mostly because this portion of the aileron, the previous owner, like I said, well loved. He had cracked the foam in here pretty badly and had broken the hinge completely away. That's impressive because this is Kevlar. So he tore the Kevlar on whatever he did.
Without destroying the rest of the plane.
In fairness, with this level of damage, it was probably hanger rash, and just a sickening hanger rash at that. So what I've done, that is Blenderum tape. That's all it is. It makes a decent hinge tape. I could have just as easily gone with packing tape. You just want a light tape that grips the foam or the skin very well. The other thing that I have done is that on the inside you can see right along here, there's a section right along here where I've inserted a carbon rod. So I had a thin 0.5 millimeter size rod that I've driven up into the foam and added a little bit of glue with it and let it set in place. That sort of stabilizes up this bend. And the last thing that I did, you see,
got some flaps. There we go. Yep.
There is a strip of carbon that's a 0.5 millimeter by 5 millimeter carbon strip, maybe 4 millimeter carbon strip, that I scavenged out of a 3D foamy that effectively...
What is it about us and killing 3D foamies?
They're great for source materials for other planes. What can I say? You find one cheap, you love it to death, and then you turn it into another airplane.
I don't know about loving it to death, but to death.
But effectively, I faced the inside of the aileron to stabilize that leading edge as well. So put that in a pocket, or I think they even CA'd that in with foam safe CA, because that's this stuff will get destroyed.
Foam.
It's white, but it's like pink
so
foam.
It's spider foam. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not the nice stuff. But that's mostly the mark of the age. They didn't use ROSL back then. They used whatever foam they found as long as it was dense enough.
Everybody wanted spider foam back then.
Yeah. And you know what? This flies really reasonably well. It's an old school design. It's an old school airfoil, but it'll fly just fine, and it's built like a tank. Anyways, so we're going to try a gentle launch.
Maybe a little more elevator comp.
So this is the Leaf Encore. Nice little airplane, very, very old school. But when you can find them, they're worth every penny, particularly when you can get an awesome deal like this one.